So it seems every time I have a conversation about social media, one of the biggest things that people say, Facebook just isn't working for me anymore. I can't get past these changes in the algorithms. How do I get seen on Facebook? How do I get traction on Facebook? Well, we're going to talk about that today, and hopefully we're going to stir up some new possibilities for how you can turn Facebook into a really great lead generation machine for your business. Hi, it's Melanie Benson-Strick here, and I'm a business optimizer, and I specialize in helping heart-based entrepreneurs and transformational leaders get great traction by focusing on profit-boosting activities in their business. And today, we're going to have another segment of the Power Up podcast where we're going to talk about how to turn on lead generation with Facebook. So I've invited a colleague of mine, Sherri-Lee Woycik, is a Facebook marketing and ads expert that I connected with through Women's Speakers Association. And oftentimes I'm just meeting these great experts there. So let me just give you a little background on Sherri-Lee. Sherri-Lee's mission is to help heart-centered entrepreneurs get more clients and more customers from Facebook. She teaches and provides social media services to business owners like us who would like to use Facebook to reach a steady stream of dream customers and clients. Now, over the last 5 years, after the end of her marriage, where she found herself alone and with no income or a job, which, wow, okay, scary place to be, right? Sherri-Lee kind of rebounded by not only continuing to homeschool her kids, but to build a successful Facebook marketing company. So, Sherri-Lee, thanks so much for joining us today. And I'm excited to talk about this because, when we connected in Women's Speakers Association, I was really inspired by what you're doing. Really happy to know there was a resource like you out there that specializes in Facebook and lead generation. So thanks for being here.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Melanie. I'm so excited to be here, and I always love talking Facebook. Sometimes people see me come in and go, "Oh, we're going to be talking Facebook," because it's what I love to talk about. It's so much fun.
And especially today, there's a lot of social media platforms we can get into, and people are talking about Periscope, and it's the new rage for lead generation, and we're talking about Snapchat, and there's just a million things out there that people are being advised to do. But Facebook's been around a long time. They've made a lot of changes, many of which are frustrating to the average user who's used to getting 100 likes on their posts, and now they're getting 2.
Yes.
So. Why don't you tell me why you think Facebook is still a really powerful lead generation platform for us to consider using?
So much to that. That's a great question. One of the things that when I started my business, one of the things that I did was, this was back in 2009 when I started my business, and I had been doing social media. I'd started teaching myself social media since about 2008, early 2008. So I was a pretty early adopter in all of this. And even then, when I started thinking about my business and holding workshops for local business owners, it was quite a bit of work to figure out what platforms I was going to focus on to teach. And I started looking at it, and I know back then I did a Google search and there was well over 100 social media platforms at that point. And I was absolutely baffled by that. I thought there's just no way anybody could do all of those. And even the top 5, it's really hard to effectively manage those, especially if you're a solo entrepreneur or you're working from home or, you have anything else going on. And so I really narrowed down to Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn at that time as the 3 powerhouses. And I spent a lot of time teaching people how to use those. What I came to realize in 2013 was it's even better if you can just focus on one platform. It's much better to do one platform really well, really achieve success, really get leads from it, get business from it, increase your income from it, and then start adding in other platforms. So I'm not saying Facebook's the only platform. I'm a big fan of a lot of them. I use a lot of them myself. I'm on Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest. When something new comes up, it's so much fun to go out and explore it. But my primary focus is Facebook. And the reason being because it still provides me with the best opportunities to connect with people that I've never met before. Facebook does so much to support me as a business owner by providing things like custom audiences that we can create, lookalike audiences that we can create. They give us so much information in analytics and demographics around our audience. And they allow us to do it really inexpensively if we know what we're doing. Like I said, I love Twitter. I get lots of leads out of Twitter. I meet a lot of great people off of Twitter. And it's one of my favorite platforms as well. But Facebook by far has some of the best services for business owners. The thing that think that frustrates people is I don't think Facebook intended to be this when they started this out. Obviously, we know it started out with the intention of being a dating platform, a social platform for a bunch of university students. And I really don't think that they intended it to have the business applications that it does. And I think a lot of their time has been spent running around putting out fires and responding to the needs and the demands of the people using the platform. And that, I think, leads to some of the frustrations. I think also classically they are really great at telling us what the changes are and how to best use those changes all the time. If anybody's gone into the instructions or the rules around running advertisements or running contests, they know it can be pretty convoluted. There's a lot there. You need a full-time job just to manage that. So there's a lot of things around it. It's not perfect, but it certainly is my favorite.
Yeah, and it seems like I think what frustrates people the most, especially when you're not a marketing person by nature, right? Like you're somebody who you just want to do more of what you love. Mm-hmm. So now you're trying to immerse yourself in all the changes and the constant nuances, and you're getting rejects and people are not responding to things, and you're thinking, how do I get this to work, right? So I'm really glad you're here today to kind of, pull away the curtains and kind of tell us, what do we really need to be doing differently on Facebook to get some better traction. So let's dig into that. Let's talk about what does work on Facebook that we should be paying attention to and learning to master if we want to generate leads there.
Well, you hit on a really good point there that most of us aren't marketers. We're business owners. We are coaches or authors or speakers, or we own a retail boutique, or we make signs for a living, or we're artists. And somehow now we have to market our businesses as well. And in this great opportunity to be able to do it, we've also been presented with some challenges around it. And there's certainly a lot of information out there that you can follow, but that can become a rabbit hole. You're stuck down there, a day could go by and you're still just following leads down the rabbit hole. And do you know what to do yet? And so for me and for my community, I really focus on what are the things that are working that you can do in under an hour a day that will get you results. Because I know that you don't have a lot of time to spend doing it. You don't have 8 hours a day to spend sitting on your computer on Facebook. So we really focus a lot around knowing who your ideal customer is really clearly. And I know that's probably an area you spend a lot of time in as well, because that's really the foundation. The more you can know about the people that you want to serve, the more you can serve them, the more you can help them, the more they know you are the answer to their problems. So we spend a lot of time talking about that. But then how do we find those people on Facebook, and how do we connect with those people on Facebook? And while we're marketing, we're trying really hard to not obviously market. We're being conversational. We're being friendly. We're connecting with them maybe about things that have nothing to do with our business. We are connecting around things, shared interests that we might have with these people who are our ideal audience or customers. And we use that to build relationships. And that's really what I think the most important thing you can do on Facebook is. I have a friend locally here who's a real estate agent. And of course, no offense to real estate agents, but there's a lot of them out there, right? You can go to any networking event and you meet 5 in the room easily. And they don't really have a lot of differences. They sell and buy, help you sell and buy property. So what makes you hire one real estate agent over another? It's some connection that you have with them. It's some relationship. They make you feel like they know you, they understand your needs, they're going to take care of you. It's that know, like, and trust relationship. And that's what we want to replicate on Facebook. So my friend, this real estate agent, her passion is dogs. And she supports local dog charities and animal charities. And if there's a dog missing in our community, she'll share out the post about missing dog. And, you'll always see this. But she started bringing that into her business. First, she was hesitant because she said, well, what does that got to do with real estate? But I said to her, if you connect with other dog lovers, then they're going to know you're the real estate agent who looks for a home for their dog, not just for the people. Because dog owners, their dogs are part of their family, right? We were talking about dogs just before we started here. Dogs are your family. And for a lot of dog owners, making sure that I find a home that's going to accommodate my family is important. So she started bringing this into her Facebook page. And she was hesitant at first because how do people know I'm a real estate agent? Well, she's got so much business off of it because when somebody says on their Facebook profile, hey, I'm looking for a real estate agent, I need to buy a home and I need to have one that's dog friendly, or I need to have a community that's good for dogs or a yard, people are remembering her because her passion is dogs. And so that's what I really work with a lot of people to do, is to find those common grounds with their ideal customers that connect them and build those relationships deeper than just telling them what your services are.
Yeah. Mine's wine.
Wine?
Yeah,
there you go.
know, it's funny, like in all my different communities, like wine and coffee. It's not, I'm not a wino really, but I do really, I tend to bond with people over the connoisseur energy of wine. And it's funny how people remember that. And now it's being gluten-free.
Oh, yeah,
It's
that's
amazing.
a popular one as well.
Yes, it's amazing because I don't eat gluten and I don't eat dairy and I don't really eat a lot of sugar besides my wine. So there's a lot of like connections that have been forming around that. So I could see how that would work because people do remember when they've got that common ground with you.
For sure. And, it's funny that you should say wine because a couple of years ago, I have a love of wine as well, I'll admit. And a couple of years ago, I decided that I wanted to start what I call a passion page. So it's not a page that's around my business. It's completely around my love of wine. And I started this page. It's called Wine O'Clock. And all it is we post lots of fun things, lots of engaging things around wine. And I grew up very quickly. It's got over 5,000 likes on it, but we monetized it then. Wine t-shirts for the wine community lovers, right? So it's a really focused, branded page around women specifically who love wine. And, out of that became so many other opportunities. And I met so many other people that I could do business with because of this shared passion. Another example is I have a recipe group because I was looking for ideas on how meals to cook for my family. So I started a recipe group, and the same thing has happened out of that. We've brought a community of people together who are looking for healthy, gluten-free recipes, easy to make for moms, on the run. And out of that, I've built relationships and found community again, but also found customers and clients out of it. So you never know where those connections are going to be made, but I didn't tell anybody I was doing Facebook when I started those groups. It was just around fun. You never know.
So building connection through community, great. I get it. But let's say someone is in the space of, I don't have time to do all that, right? I don't have time to build out community. Let's talk about Facebook ads. Because everybody's heard that Facebook ads are the fastest way to really get targeted leads.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say?
I absolutely agree.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. 100%. And, a perfect example is last year I went into a coaching program with a person that I really respect, a Facebook marketer. And it was a pretty expensive investment. And when I made the commitment, I said, okay, well, that's it. I'm unsubscribing from every other business coach's newsletter because I can't get distracted. I have to have blinders on. If I'm spending this kind of money, I have to have blinders on. And so one of the first things we did was I created a new lead magnet. So it was an ebook that I wrote, and it was all around how to get leads from Facebook. And I brought it out in August and went to run some Facebook ads to it. It had a beautiful image. I was so happy with this. And I went to run some Facebook ads, and I guess I had a moment where my brain didn't fully fire on all the synapses, and I made a mistake, and my ad didn't get approved. Okay. But I didn't get my ad to it. I was still kind of hoping to leverage it. I did eventually get an ad to it, but it took me probably a good 4 to 6 weeks before I actually got back to trying to run an ad to this. I was just busy with other things. But I still had my post up on my page offering this ebook, and I still talked about it. I mentioned it to people on my weekly call that I host. I was mentioning it to people. I got people to write testimonials in that post as a comment to that post so that there was some social proof around it. And I managed to add 300 people to my email list without even using the Facebook ads. just
Wow.
from the social promotions, the connections. Once the Facebook ads went out, I immediately grew it, another 300 immediately, but I got people into strategy session calls with me, and I brought $10,000 of income into my business in like a month because I was able to leverage the social proof on this post, offer a freebie that was high value and easy to consume, and drove it directly to the news feeds of the people that I wanted to see it. Goes right back to really identifying those people and knowing where they are so that you can connect with them.
Yeah, and I think that's really the key of any advertising. But in Facebook, this is what makes it so powerful.
For sure, for sure. And Facebook gives you a lot of this information, and a lot of people may not realize this, but you can, use your email database as a foundation, and you can upload that into Facebook, and Facebook takes all of those email addresses off of your database and searches through their billion plus subscribers to find accounts attached to those email addresses. So great. You can run ads to people who are already on your email list. A lot of people say, why would I do that? They're already on my list. Why would I do that? Well, you do that to increase your open rates of your newsletter, to increase your opt-ins to programs or services that you might be promoting in your newsletter. It's another touch point to connect with those people. Imagine what it's like when, you see a newsletter in your inbox and you think, okay, I'll get to that later.
Right.
And you walk away and you don't think about it again later. You forget about it because you got a few emails to look through. You end up on Facebook and there's an ad reminding you of this newsletter you wanted to take action on. It makes them go, oh, wow, like I remember her. But then we can also take Facebook and say to Facebook, can you please find me more people like these people? Basically is what we're doing. And we're saying, in the United States, find me more people that are similar to this list that I've given you. And Facebook will go out and find new people for you to connect with that don't know you yet and you don't know them. I don't know any place else that you can advertise where they actually will go through their database and match people based on age and location and male or female. In the United States, they'll match them by income if you want, by job titles, by, all sorts of things. If they live in a single family home or a condo, if they're getting married, if they're engaged, you can set these parameters up and really target it. I don't know any place else that'll let you do that. And then say, hey, here, now you can advertise to those people. I think that's fantastic. To me, that just makes me so excited to think about how they help you do that and reach these new people.
Yeah, so there's a couple things that I want to dig into a little bit more around that, because I have run some Facebook ads and I've had them denied and I've had some work. So there's a lot to learn and pay attention to, which is why, of course, we can use someone like you to cut back the learning curve. But, so let's say we're going to run an ad. Do we have to have a big Facebook page following to make it effective?
Depends on what kind of ad you're running. Okay. There's about 10 or 12 different types of ads you can run on Facebook, and each one of them have a different objective, so a different goal that you want to achieve at the end of it, and they will all have different strategies of how you approach them. So you really have to have clarity first off about what you want to achieve. I hear a lot of people saying, I ran a boosted post because it's offered to me on my page. It's nice and easy. I just push the button and tell them how much I want to spend, and away we go. And when boosted posts came out, I wouldn't have ever recommended you use them because there wasn't a lot of targeting availability to them. They were not really effective. I thought they were pretty much a money grab, to be honest. They've fixed them quite a bit. They can be used quite effectively, but only if you're using them for the right thing. So if you're using a boosted post, you aren't necessarily going to grow the likes on your page.
Right.
You're necessarily going to get opt-ins to your lead magnet. You might get a few, but they'll be pretty expensive compared to if you had used an ad specifically to grow the likes on your page. But what you will get from boosted posts is an increased reach to the fans of your page and increased engagement. So you have to know what the outcome is of your ad before you get started. Then you can make sure you start in the right place and move forward properly. That's so important. And then after that, there's so many ads to choose from, but really boosted posts, growing the likes on your page so that you can connect with the right people, and then driving people to your website or an opt-in page through the website clicks ads. Those are the three most important ones that I think people should be using. If your page has got a lot of likes to it and they're engaged, not just a bunch of likes, don't just go out and buy a million likes and then say, woohoo, my page has got a million likes to it. That's of no value. You want them to be people that are going to engage and like your posts and comments to your posts and share your posts. Then there's value to that. Whether they become customers or not, hopefully they will. But if they don't, they're still adding value to helping you promote your business by spreading the word of your business. So having a page with a lot of likes can really help you, but you can still do a lot of good with Facebook ads, even if you don't have a lot of likes.
Okay, good. And this is a question a lot of people ask. And I guess another one that I actually think is really confusing with a mishmash of information out there is what kind of budget you have to have for your ads. And we were actually talking about this a little bit earlier, where there's a lot of people kind of creating this, what we might say, unrealistic portrait of what you can do with Facebook ads by saying, I filled my, program with 100 people and I made $7 gazillion from my event through Facebook ads.
Right.
And then we go to recreate that and we're like, I only got like 4 sales.
Right.
So, those people are actually using huge budgets. Can you reproduce great results with smaller budgets?
This is such a great question and really one of my pet peeves. And it started a few years ago before the ads were as big as they are. And I heard a lot of really big Facebook marketers holding webinars, and I would go to, make sure I was learning from the best always. And I would hear them talking about, let me give you this example of this Walmart campaign, or let me give you an example of this Nike campaign, and look at the results they got. And I'd sit there and I'd go, wait a minute, I don't have $1 million budget. And I'm pretty sure those guys do. So can I recreate that? That was my question. And is that really helping me use the budget that I have to the most effect that I can? And that's what I want to do for my customers and everybody, who I'm involved with. So you don't need to have a massive budget, but I think you have to be realistic about your expectations. And in 2013, I was in San Diego for a mastermind with a coach that I was with. And there was a couple of really top-notch Facebook marketers that were in that mastermind that weekend, and they were doing a promotion, one of their first promotions with Frank Kern that weekend. So they were really focused on this, and we were all watching this. What are the results? And it was really exciting to see. And I looked at their results, and of course, they had a massive budget, so their numbers were huge. But when I drilled down and I looked at the cost per click, the result that way, I looked at it and I walked away and went, I'm actually getting really good results. It was good to see that. The scale was different. So what I can get for $50 is going to be different than somebody can get for $500 or $5,000. But it's better to spend your $5 a day and get some results and move forward and then increase your budget as you can than to not do anything at all. But, I have plenty of clients that spend $5 a day and that's their budget, and they still see dramatic results and dramatic differences in how their page operates and gets them more business.
That's great. I mean, and most people can, it might be a stretch, but you gotta start somewhere.
The other nice thing about Facebook ads though, and in a previous businesses, I ran ads in magazines for a previous business, and the expense of those are huge and a long-term commitment, and it took a month to get the copy back and to get the ad back, and if you wanted to make changes, it was another hour of time here and an hour of time there, and then you were committed for 3 or 6 months, and it cost you a fortune, and you knew that the magazine was going to connect with people that were interested in health, for example, but no way to guarantee they were going to see your ad. Facebook ads, you could set a $5 a day budget, and if in 2 days it's not performing to your satisfaction, you can turn it off. And you spend $10 and you go, okay, well, that didn't work. Let's try something else.
Yes.
And the biggest takeaway, if there's nothing else I can give you today, is probably 90% of what you do on Facebook is not going to work the way you think it's going to. And once I sort of allowed that to sink in, it freed me from feeling like, oh, that didn't work for me, or I'm not doing this right, or, why is there crickets on my page instead of engagement? I'm prepared to write 10 posts before I find one, or 9 posts before I find one that works really well. And I'm prepared to do 9 ads before I find one that works really well. So it's lots of testing, lots of market research. No engagement is still information back for you. Maybe you should try posting something else. If that ad didn't work, turn it off. Don't waste your money. Try something else. Look at your copy. Look at your pictures. Are they really connecting with the people that you want to connect with? So you have so much control over your budget. So even if $5 a day is a stretch, you don't have to do it for 30 days. You can do it for 10 days. You can do it for 15 days, whatever you can manage, and then increase it as your income increases.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, to me, I love that I have that much control.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of having other people do things you're not good at.
Me too.
And I'm learning very quickly, I guess I already knew this, but you're reaffirming for me that you really have done the research on how do you do Facebook ads well, right? And creating the right campaigns. How does somebody start to work with someone like you? Like, do they have to have a certain amount of revenue coming in? Do they have to have any kind of product lines that make sense for Facebook? Or is it just like anything can be advertised on Facebook?
I have worked with a lot of companies in the last 6 years, and I've worked with everything from authors and speakers and coaches to local mom and pop cafes, clothing boutiques, online sales products, sign people, automotive shop, car detailing. Really, I haven't seen a business yet that hasn't done well. I even did some work for a company that does industrial cleaning.
Wow.
And I worked for another company that does restorations after floods. You wouldn't think that would work, but we had so much fun. The key is finding out the other pieces. Of course, talking about restoration, who thinks about a flood or a fire and being prepared for that? Most people don't. They call when the place is flooding, right? They don't think ahead about, I got to have the name of a restoration guy in my pocket in case my water tank breaks tonight.
Right.
So it's one of those things that we don't prepare for an awful lot. So people aren't going to be looking for posts on Facebook about floods and fires. They want to be entertained. They want to be educated. They want to be, informed and having some fun. So we created a bunch of content that was fun and really brought out the attitude and the energy of the company and the owner of the company. And we connected because he loves motorcycle rides. We connected with a lot of people around that. We connected with things that his staff did, events that they did together. That brought in a lot of interest for people. So I really would I haven't met a company that hasn't done well using Facebook ads. It's really a long-term process though. So it's not a quick fix, right? It's not a sprint. You're not going to go on it for a month and go, well, that didn't work and I'm done. I'm never going to do it again. A month's not long enough. So it is something that there is a bit of a commitment to. So you do have to have the budget to bring somebody in to do the work for you. And the more you can contribute, the better, because we want it to be authentic. I love working collaboratively with people so that they're involved with the posting and they're involved with the engagement, because you don't want it to sound like me.
Yeah.
And I can't spend enough time in your business to be you. Well, I'm not a big fan of people who outsource everything around this. I think it's good to have a collaborative place so that the owner or the business person is who the person recognizes. When they see them, they go, oh, I recognize you from Facebook. Not just your face, but the way you talk, your tone, your attitude.
Yeah, great. I love it. So let's share with everybody how they can start to work with you. Like maybe there's a first step that you would like people to take.
Sure. Really, I have a little report that I made. It's 10 tips to increase your engagement on Facebook. And I know that there's something in there that would be of value to your listeners for sure. So you can get that at socialmediaminder.com/10 tips. Nice and simple. And it's a quick little read, 2 pages, and you're going to have 10 new things you can do on your Facebook page to increase your engagement, which is really super important to start leveraging it.
I love it. Thank you. And again, if all you do is just focus on improving your engagement, it's a great place to start. I highly recommend that if you're going to do Facebook ads, that at least in the beginning, have somebody else do it for you, so you're not like spending hours and hours and hours trying to figure out something that Sherri-Lee's already an expert in. And
I've already wasted the money.
Yeah, exactly.
I've already made the mistakes.
Here's something that I'd love to put out there. If you're going to be using your Facebook page to create more engagement, let's create a little bit of a support system here. Come on over to the show page, melaniebensonstrick.com, and you can put in Facebook in the search bar if you don't see Sherri-Lee's interview right at the top. Come on and in the comments, share with us what the page is you're going to focus on putting some of these techniques in place. And we can kind of support each other and give you a little visibility along the way. So again, you can go to melaniebensonstrick.com and just look for the episode with Sherri-Lee. Share with us what you're going to be doing on that Facebook page, and let's go follow each other. Let's go create some enrollments and some engagements and some connections and some community around our Facebook pages. Mine's Melanie Benson Strick. You go to facebook.com/Melanie Benson Strick. You can see what I've been doing there with Facebook Live. Every Thursday I do a Facebook Live session there as well. So
fantastic. I'll check that out.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a great way to build connection, and we're playing around with doing some Facebook ads to those live sessions. So
fabulous.
Yeah. So tell us what you're going to do. Let's give each other a little shout out and some support, and let's create some great Facebook results together. And in the meantime, make sure you get a copy of Sherri-Lee's resource there as well. Hey, thanks for being here today. It's been really awesome learning from Sherri-Lee, and I'm excited to go put some of these things into action, and I hope you are too. See you guys all next week. Bye.
Thanks, Melanie.